Good morning, Year 6, and welcome to Tuesday's maths lesson. This is the fifth lesson, or actually the fourth lesson on our unit on algebra. And today we're going to be substituting numbers into simple expressions to find a particular value. Okay, but before we start with that, let's do a little flashback. So read these questions, answer them as best you can, and pause the video now, and I'll come back to you in a moment. Okay, question 1. Write an expression for the output if x is the input to this function machine. Well, we've got input plus 7, so if our input is x, then the output is going to be x plus 7. Okay, number 2. Find 25% of 180. Well, 25% is the same as a quarter, and a quarter of 100, because a quarter of 100 is 25. So what we need to do is find a quarter of 180. We find a quarter by dividing by 4. And a good way to divide by 4 mentally is to half and half it again. So if we halve 180, we get 90. And if we half 90, we get 45. So the answer is 45. Okay, number 3. Write 3/4 as a decimal. Okay, so if we're writing it as a decimal, then it's 3/4 of 1 whole, or 1. So a quarter of 1 whole is 0.25, so 3/4 is 0.75. Number 4. How many sides does a hexagon have? Well, 6, because hex means 6, and a hexagon is a 2D shape. Okay, well done if you got those right. Okay, now, if a equals 2. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is moving on from our work yesterday. We were actually forming algebraic expressions, so we're going to be substituting numbers in for those, or values into those algebraic symbols. So we will substitute numbers into simple expressions to find a particular value. So you have already experienced inputting into a function machine, and with substitution we are just inputting a value into an expression. Okay, so it's kind of perfectly builds on the work you've already done. So hopefully by the end of this lesson you will understand that the same expression can have different values depending what has been substituted. Okay, let's have a look at the first question. Okay, I'm going to read it to you. Then when I've finished, I'm going to pause the video and I'd like you to go on your own, and then I'll go through the questions after that. So if star equals 7 and heart equals 5, what is the value of star plus heart plus heart? And if a equals 7 and b equals 5, what is the value of a plus b plus b? So what is the same about this and what is different about this question or these questions? Okay, pause the video now, please. Okay, so the first step to working this out probably would be to substitute the numbers given for the algebraic symbols, or the pictures in the first example. So as you can see, I've substituted the 7 for the hearts, the 7 for the star, and the 5 for each heart. So I know that 7 plus 5 plus 5 equals 17. Then if I substitute the A for a 7 and the B's for 5, I've also got an answer of 17. Okay, so I can see what's the same. Well, they have the same numerical output. Now, is that second expression, a plus b plus b, is that the same as a plus 2b? Think about this. What do we know? What does 2b mean in algebra? Well, 2b means 2 times b. 2 times b is the same as b plus b, because we have 2 b's. That was just a refresher from yesterday. Okay, so what's the same? Well, the numerical answers and values are the same. What's different? Well, the way it's been expressed is different. So there's different icons used, different symbols, and different letters have been used. Okay, next question. So substitute the following to work out the values of the expressions. So work out these expressions when w equals 3, x equals 5, and y equals 2.5. Okay, have a little go at these and pause the video now, please. Okay, first question, w plus 10. Well, I can substitute the w for 3. I know that 3 plus 10 equals 13. Second one, w plus x. Well, I substitute the w for 3 and the x plus a 5, and I end up doing 3 plus 5, which equals 8. 8 is the value of that expression. And then the third one, y minus w. I substitute the y for the 2.5 and the W for the 3, to do 2.5 subtract 3, which equals minus 0.5. The value of that expression, or the value of the expression y minus W equals minus 0.05. Okay, well done if you got those right. Okay, this time it's slightly more difficult because you have to remember some of those algebraic conventions. So if we just look at these, I'll just read the question to you and I'll give you a little reminder. So here, substitute the following to work out the values of the expressions, where W equals 10, X equals a quarter, and Y equals 2.5. I want you to think really carefully about these questions. So the first one is 3y. Remember, when you have a number in front of a letter and there's nothing else there, that automatically means multiply. So that means 3 times y. In the second example, when you just have two letters, W and X, and there's no mathematical symbol, that means W times X, or W multiplied by X. In the third example, 12 plus 8.8W, you have the number 8.8 with a W. Remember, that means when there's nothing there, there's no symbol there, that means multiply. And in the final example, again, we've got WY, which means W times Y, 4X, which means 4 times X. But here you need to remember the conventions for BODMAS. Okay, so brackets, order, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So you would actually do the multiplication, and actually in the third and the fourth question, you would have to remember to do the multiplication part of the question before you do the addition part of the question to get the correct answer. You might even want to put brackets around it. Okay, right, pause the video now, please. So the first one, 3y. I know that means 3 times y, 3 times 2.5 is 7.5. In the second example, wx, I'm going to substitute w for 10 and x for a quarter, and it's 10 times a quarter. You could write that as a decimal, which would be 2.5, or we could write that as 10/40ths if you were writing it as a fraction. Basically, it's the same as it's still the equivalent fraction to a quarter. Okay, right, the third one, 12 plus 8.8w. So here we have to remember that 8.8w, we have to substitute the w for 10, and remember that means 8.8 times 10, and we have to do that a little bit first. 8.8 times 10 is 88. We then know that the question is saying 12 plus 88, or 12 plus 88 is actually 100. So that's the value of that expression. The value is 100 of the expression 12 plus 8.8w. Okay, and then the last one, wy plus 4x. So firstly, we will do the wy bit, then we will do the 4x bit, and then we add them together. So I know wy is 10 times 2.5, and I know that 4x is 4 times a quarter. So 10 times 2.5 equals 25, and 4 times a quarter equals 1 whole. So 25 plus 1 whole equals 26. So the answer to that final expression, the value, sorry, to that final expression is 26. Okay, well done. Okay, moving on. So here are two formulae. P equals 2a plus 5, and C equals 10 minus P. Find the value of C when A equals 10. Okay, pause the video, I'll come back to you in a moment. Okay, here, so the first thing I have to do, because I have to find out the value of C, then I'm going to need to know what P is before I can work. I'm going to need to know what P is before I can work that out. So I have to work on the first one to start with. And I know what the value of A is. I know that A is 10. So 2A is going to be 2 times 10, which is 20. And then 20 plus 5 is 25. So I know the value of P is 25. I can now input that value of P into the final expression. So here I know now that C equals 10 minus 25. Okay, and I can work out that 10 minus 25 is actually minus 15. So C must equal minus 15. Well done if you got that right. Okay, now come on to the final slide. So, x equals 2c plus 6. Well, Whitney says x must equal 12 because c must be equal to 3, because it's the third letter in the alphabet. Is Whitney correct? Have a little think about that and pause the video. Okay, so is Whitney correct? Well, no. C doesn't mean it's 3 because it's the third letter of the alphabet. C can actually stand for any number or any value. Okay, so she's incorrect. Okay. All right, what about Amir? What does Amir say? Well, Amir says when C equals 5 in that expression, then X must equal 31. Amir is wrong. Okay, but can you explain why he's wrong? Yeah, what can you work out what he's done? He's made a mistake there. Can you work out what the mistake is? And then also, could you work out what would the correct value of X be? Okay, pause the video and work that out for me, please. Okay, so Amir says C equals 5, X equals 31. So, well, let's input C in there. So 2C, so if C equals 5, he says, then 2 times 5 is 10. And we can see that 10 plus 6 is 16. So no, he's wrong. He's obviously wrong because what's he done? Well, what he's done is he put the 2 next to the 5 to make 25 instead of multiplying it by 5. And then the correct value should be 16. Okay, well done, Year 6. And well done for working so hard. I hope you find the sheets okay. Algebra can be quite tricky. So if you're at all struggling, just do your best, do the absolute best you can. And maybe if you're really finding it hard, just stick to that first page. And remember, don't do any more than an hour's work each day, because you know that's all that we would do at school. Okay, well, have good luck with it, and I hope you have a good day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.